starts right now.
So this case is such a mess that in the beginning, you don't even have a starting point. Except for Abraham Shakespeare winning the lottery.
I said, you won $30 million. Do not show this to anybody.
But everybody's there saying, give me, let me have.
Women with car full of kids would pull up and say, oh, the Lord led me to you. And I would be like, no, that would be Google Maps, honey.
One of the things that people talk about when they talk about winning the lottery is that it's cursed.
I really would like my old life back where I could walk the streets like a normal person.
But then all of a sudden, things go silent. And nobody knows where Abraham Shakespeare is.
Hey, have you heard from Abe? No, I haven't heard from him. Have you seen him? No, I haven't seen him either.
A lot of people says, well, I think he took his money and wants to get away from all this.
So how many people in Polk County owed Abe Shakespeare money?
Over 20, maybe close to 40.
There are all these people with this web of connections to Abraham Shakespeare, and any one of them might be someone who has a motive to see him dead. We all dream of a moment in life that will instantly change everything. A stroke of luck, and nothing will ever be the same again. That's exactly what happened to a man with the name you will never forget, Abraham Shakespeare.
While Abraham Shakespeare was on a trucking route with his colleague, Michael Ford, they stopped at a convenience store.
Mike Ford, who's the driver, says, you need anything? Abraham, who's staying in the truck, says, yeah, you know, give me 2 quick picks.
Right here at this gas station in a town with a name you just can't make up, Frostproof, Florida. 1 stop, 2 quick pick lottery tickets, one of which would change his life forever. A jackpot worth $30 million.
Hello, Florida. It's Wednesday, November 15th, and here are tonight's winning numbers. 12.
When Abe realized he'd won the lottery, he wasn't even sure it was real. So he brought the ticket to his cousin, Ashley McMillan.
I looked up at him, and I looked at the ticket again, and I looked up at him. I said, you won $30 million. He said, okay, I just wasn't sure. I needed somebody I could trust to tell me that. And I was like, do not show this to anybody else. You go to Tallahassee and cash this in immediately.
News of Abe's win quickly spread across the state of Florida.
It was at this convenience store that Abraham Shakespeare bought the lotto ticket that changed his life.
A Lakeland man is waking up a millionaire this morning. 40-year-old Abraham Shakespeare. He had the winning numbers, and Mr. Shakespeare, I'd like to give you my phone number.
Yeah. He opted to take home the lump sum of $17 million. But then after taxes, he ended up with $12 million.
Still, you know, $12 million is a huge chunk of change for a man with a pretty humble background who came from the central Florida town of Lakeland.
Lakeland is small town feel with a little bit of city in it, beautiful lakes, areas are quiet, some parts are rural, and it's in between Orlando and Tampa.
And here in Lakeland, Abe lived in a modest neighborhood where many folks struggled to make ends meet.
This is the famous Abraham Shakespeare's ex-home, where he rented and lived.
This is where they lived before.
This is where they lived before he won the lottery. It was set up just like this. Nothing's changed besides painting it.
Pretty modest place.
Pretty modest.
Abraham's life has been hardscrabble for its duration. Abraham dropped out of school. He had been in a little bit of trouble as a youth, nothing major, just little petty theft kind of things. And as he grows older, he takes on a series of odd jobs. Riding the garbage truck for the city of Lakeland, sweeping up in somebody's barber shop.
Abraham had a strong friendship with Greg Smith, who owned a barber shop.
He was working at my barber shop as a cleanup guy, sweeping up and mopping floors. He was a less fortunate person, so let him work, get paid, or buy him something to eat. Abraham was an easygoing person. He took life just as it came.
What kind of guy was he?
He was a humble guy. Humble, respectful. You know, he wasn't a hard ass. He was a good dude. He didn't smoke, he didn't drink, he didn't do dope. He was just trying to survive, trying to make it in the world as most people do, but without being in the limelight of problems and trouble.
Even though he didn't have a whole lot, he was very content.
Abraham has all of this money. He can move anywhere he wants to, but instead, he stays home. He stays in Lakeland.
I think to a lot of people's surprise, Abraham did not go buck wild, as they say, when he got his money. He didn't overindulge.
Abraham says, I want to buy a car. So off me and Abraham went to the car dealership. Abraham walks up on this particular car and he liked it. And I'm like, yeah, Abraham, that's nice, but you know, it's a used car. Used or whatever, it was a gem to him.
He said he would go to Denny's to eat breakfast. He bought a Rolex watch from a pawn shop.
He come to the shop every day, millionaire, come to the shop, sweep the floor.
Yes.
You better not drop a penny on the floor. First thing he gonna say, he gonna pick it up, he gonna say, pennies make dollars.
Abraham doesn't spend much money on himself, but the one thing that he really wants is a new house. So he buys a 5,000 square foot, $1 million mansion.
Prior to winning the lottery, he would walk around this exclusive neighborhood and he would dream about living in one of those homes. He was able to buy his dream home for $1 million in the gated community.
And Abe quickly opened his doors to friends and even strangers. And one of those strangers was Centuria Butler, who was at the time down on her luck when she met Abe at a party he threw at his new house.
At the end of the night, he was like, where are you going? I was like, might be staying in my car tonight. He was like, well, you know, you can stay here until you get on your feet. He literally let me as a stranger move into his house.
A friendship blossomed. Centuria and Abe grew close, and eventually they welcomed a son named Jeremiah.
When the baby is out and they bring him over to the bed, Abraham with his long arms, he swoops in and he takes the baby right out of her hands. And he's holding him. And he's like, yeah, I got my snookum pookum.
But for Abe, it wasn't enough just to provide for his own family. Abe seemingly wanted to help everyone. And pretty soon, his generosity spread throughout Lakeland.
When Abraham won the lottery, all of Lakeland and Polk County won the lottery.
People did not hesitate to come to Abraham and say, you know, I need money for my mortgage. They're going to foreclose on my house. They're going to repossess my car. I've got to bury my mother. Everything you can think of that someone needed.
Now you're dealing with all kind of people you want to look out for and people you don't want to look out for, but everybody's there saying, give me, let me have.
Abraham wins this huge lottery, and then within a day, everyone wants a piece.
I couldn't even talk with him 10 minutes. His phone was ringing. By the time he get off the phone with that one, another one would call him.
There were days that random women with car full of kids would pull up and say, oh, the Lord led me to you. And I would be like, no, that would be Google Maps, honey.
It got tiresome to him. He got fed up with it a lot.
I really would like my old life back where I could walk the streets like a normal person, but got people coming up asking for money.
And Abe's fortunes might be about to take an even more serious turn for the worse.
His friend comes forward and says, hey, that's my ticket. All those multi-million dollars, they're mine.
Abraham Shakespeare was on the verge of losing his entire fortune.
When Abe Shakespeare moved into that gated community, he was stepping into his life of luxury as a recent lottery winner. But those gates still couldn't keep people out. Friends, neighbors, even strangers still visited, asking for a favor, a loan, or a handout.
I think it caused him more harm than good. I don't think he enjoyed that money.
It was like I wish I didn't even have no money. He was dead serious.
There's something called the lottery curse. Lottery winners go bankrupt. They are killed, robbed, kidnapped, and scammed till the end of days.
Most people work and struggle to get millions. When it's handed to you, it's an easy come, easy go, and you're open game. And if you're not prepared for it, you're screwed with it.
Abe tried to manage that flood of requests, turning some of those handouts into loans, but this was far from a perfect system.
One of the things that Abraham did was he set up a business venture in which he became the Hood's bank.
But that also meant that he had to make arrangements with them for when they would pay back and how much they would pay back. This was becoming overwhelming.
Abe was giving out money faster than he could keep track of. And then things took an unexpected turn with that coworker on the trucking route, the guy who bought the winning lottery ticket for him, Mike Ford.
Suddenly, there's a lawsuit against Abraham filed by Mike Ford, who is claiming that Abraham stole the tickets.
I was able to immediately get in contact with him. He was upset because he thought that Michael Ford was a friend.
To defend himself, Abe brought in a high-profile attorney named Willie Gary.
Willie Gary is a force, very self-confident. Willie has a private jet. He drives around in Rolls Royces. He wears, of course, custom-made suits.
Please be seated, ladies and gentlemen.
Mike Ford's claim was that Abraham had gone into his wallet, had taken the lottery ticket. Abraham denies that he ever stole that ticket.
In response to the lawsuit, Abe alleged it was never about a stolen ticket. It was about a demand for $1 million.
Abe's claim was that Mike basically went to him saying, hey, I want $1 million. And Abraham said, I'm not giving you any money. And that's when Mike said, well, I'm going to sue you.
Ford has a different account. He says that when he asked Abraham about the ticket, Abe offered him $1 million, but later refused to pay, saying Ford couldn't prove the ticket was his.
Ford versus Shakespeare was a 5-day trial. Michael Ford did his best to present his case, but the jury only took an hour to find against him.
It was a battle over millions in that courthouse, but in the end, he got to keep all of his money. And then he met someone. He met someone who promised to help him, who promised to protect his fortune, to secure his future. Was Abe's luck finally turning around?
A woman named Doris Moore, they called her Dee Dee, Florida-born, very ambitious, pretty smart. She comes along.
In fall of 2008, Dee Dee goes to this small business conference where she meets the realtor who sold Abraham his $1 million mansion.
And she thought it would be cool to write a book about his life.
Dee Dee is introduced to Abraham, and he agrees to let her profile him.
She wanted to sit down and interview us for her book.
Dee Dee Moore seemed like she was a very professional woman. She was in a suit and heels and hose and everything, and said that she owned a company, American Medical Professionals.
Dee Dee Moore is a self-made businesswoman, a very successful businesswoman with a medical staffing company.
And the more time Dee Dee spent around Abe, the more involved she became, not just as an author, but also as an advisor.
She learns that he has all this money out there in the community. She said, you need a financial advisor. You need some financial help. I am an expert at that. The next thing you know, Dee Dee is Abraham Shakespeare's sidekick and his emissary who goes around to collect money.
She had her own money. She didn't need his money. And that became a trust factor for him.
He's like, you know, she has her own business. She, you know how to run things. She gonna help me with my LLCs.
Dee Dee wasn't just helping Abe with his money. She also started recording their conversations, capturing these behind-the-scene moments where, even with her help, he still appeared to be fed up.
Do you get tired of people asking you for money all the time, Abe? Give me your opinion on it.
I've been tired. A year ago.
All of a sudden, things go silent, and nobody knows where Abraham Shakespeare is.
None of his children had heard from him. His mother hadn't heard from him. Nobody had heard from him.
And just like that, Abraham Shakespeare disappeared. No calls, no goodbyes, not a word to the people he loved. It was like he vanished into thin air. Abraham Shakespeare seems determined to shake that lottery curse, especially after his generosity cost him almost all of his jackpot millions. Now he's fighting to get his finances back under control.
Everything was well, and then it got quiet all of a sudden.
In April of 2009, there's a stir going on in the community about nobody having seen Abraham Shakespeare in a while. There's a little buzz at first, and then it gets louder and louder and louder and becomes a thing.
People start to talk, hey, have you heard from Abe? No, I haven't heard from him. Have you seen him? No, I haven't seen him either. And that kind of started to snowball when everybody started to realize, you know, I haven't heard from him either.
And so at what point did you notice that Abe might have gone missing?
When I would call, he would always answer me or respond back. And when I didn't get that, then it began to make, somewhat of a red flag.
There was this widespread speculation around Lakeland that Abe finally just got fed up with all these people thinking that he should share his fortune with everyone. And as a result, he decided to skip town.
It was common knowledge that Abraham said that he got tired of people asking him for money.
I really would like my old life back where I could walk the streets like a normal person.
When nobody's seen him, for the first couple months, we were like, okay, you know, he did say that he was going to go away for a while and just let things, you know, kind of die down and chill, and then he was going to come back.
And friends say Abe had a very good reason not to skip town for good. Even though Abe and Centauria at this point were no longer living together, Centauria says Abe was still a devoted father to their son Jeremiah.
He was just like so excited about being a father, and he would take a picture every day.
Finally, in November of 2009, almost 6 months since Abe disappeared, Abe's cousin, Cedric Edom, decides to file a missing persons report at the Polk County Sheriff's Office.
Abraham's cousin, Cedric Edom, reported him missing to our missing persons unit, and that's where the whole investigation started.
But the investigation gets off to a slow start. Lots of people are still convinced that there's an innocent explanation for Abe's disappearance.
A lot of people said, well, I mean, I don't think he's missing. I think he took his money and wants to get away from all this.
One of Abe's friends, Judy Hagans, even told the police Abe had mentioned leaving the country.
Did he ever discuss any intricate plans with you that, hey, I'm going to disappear and nobody's ever going to see me again?
Yeah,
and
he did.
What was that about? Tell me.
He really wanted to move to Jamaica.
Still, there was an aspect of Abe's disappearance that puzzled some of his friends and family members. All of a sudden, they started receiving these random text messages from him.
All of these people that Abraham would normally just pick up a phone and talk to or stop by to see were getting text messages.
So at this point, there are a bunch of people coming out of the woodwork who are saying that they've heard from Abe.
Right.
I got a text at one point.
And what did that text say?
He was out and just didn't want to be bothered.
And the mother of his child?
Centauria, She received a text message saying he was going on vacation and leaving her for another woman.
I'm texting Abraham, and I'm getting texts back, oh, I'm leaving you for this woman, and we're going to the Bahamas.
I got a reply from his number. And the reply was, I don't need nobody filing no missing persons report on me. I'm fine.
But Ashley and others close to Abe say they had some serious doubts about whether he was actually the person sending those texts, even though they were coming from his phone.
I knew that wasn't my cousin. This is not Abraham texting me.
There's no way that he could have constructed those text messages because Abraham Shakespeare could barely read and write. In fact, his cousin, Ashley McMillan, used to read him the greeting cards here at this Walgreens where she used to work.
Before he won the lottery, he was always buying Hallmark cards. He was like, hey, can you come read this card to me? I need something that conveys like empathy or sympathy. I asked him one time, I was like, why can't you just read the card? And he looked at me dead square in the face. It was like, I cannot read.
It was so suspicious as people were getting text messages because he couldn't read or write. And if it wasn't Abraham, who were the text messages coming from?
That was one of the biggest hurdles we had in the beginning of the case, was nailing down when the last time not only was Abraham seen,
right,
but when someone physically and actually talked to him on the phone.
So this case is such a mess that in the beginning, you don't even have a starting point.
Every time we would talk to someone, they had heard something different. It just seemed like every story was leading back to Dee Dee Moore. And so we're just like, okay, we've got to talk to Dee Dee Moore because this lady Dee Dee is associated to every story that we're being told.
For Abe's friends and family, it makes sense that if anyone knows where he is, it would be Dee Dee. I mean, after all, she has been working closely with him to get his finances in order.
As their friendship began to blossom, Abraham and Dee Dee Moore hung out quite a bit. She became a major asset to him by helping Abraham collect on money that was owed to him.
Everybody was very uncertain. Dee Dee had an answer.
When police interviewed Dee Dee about Abraham's whereabouts, she says nothing's wrong. In fact, I'm in constant contact with him.
Her statement was that she talks to him all the time. If we wanted to see him, she would make sure that she brought him to us. So she sends him a text message in front of us and it's like, Abraham, call me, please call me. We wait a little bit and nothing. And she's like, well, I'll call you in the morning as soon as we hear from him. We'll set up a meeting. So we left.
Although Dee Dee can't actually connect police with Abe on the phone, she is able to show them that video that she'd taken of Abe where he says he wants to skip town.
So where do you want to go to?
It don't matter to me. I'm not a picky person.
Are you going to miss your home?
Yep, I miss it, but life goes on.
Weeks go by and there's no word from him, and suspicion begins to mount. But then this startling development. Out of the blue, Abe's mother, Elizabeth Walker, is having dinner at a Cracker Barrel and
Elizabeth's phone rings. And she opens her phone and sees it's Abraham calling. And she said, oh my God, it's Abraham.
Abraham Shakespeare is reported missing on November 9th. Most of his friends and family say they have not seen him or heard his voice since April. Is there a chance at this point in the investigation that Abe Shakespeare might just turn up somewhere?
I think we thought that was a real true possibility. Once we put him in the national database as missing, we got calls from all over the United States, and some of them with super confidence that it was Abraham. It wasn't him, but we had to deal with a lot of that.
With all of these empty leads, investigators are now looking at other angles.
So there's a whole pool of potential individuals that you could look at with some sort of motive if his disappearance did, result in foul play.
We certainly hope Abraham's alive and well, and he has successfully hidden himself away. But our investigation doesn't lead us to believe that at this time.
At this point, detectives are not only concerned that lottery winner Abe Shakespeare might be missing, they're concerned he might be dead. So how many people in Polk County owed Abe Shakespeare money?
Over 20, maybe close to 40.
And so some of them would probably not be so upset if he never appeared again.
That was the problem, is that there was a lot of people that owed him money.
But investigators are particularly interested in a man who had claimed that Abe owed him something.
Presiding, please be seated, ladies and gentlemen. Again, if you have a cell phone.
Michael Ford lost a lawsuit to him, claimed the winning lottery ticket was his, went all the way to a trial. He's probably pissed off.
$30 million of upset.
Michael, we're up here talking to you about Abraham Shakespeare. How do you know that name?
Because I went to trial with him for a lotto ticket.
Okay.
And at no time did you see Abraham Shakespeare while you were in Florida? And just for the record, you didn't in any way harm, hurt, or cause Mr. Shakespeare to be missing at this time, did you?
No, sir.
And we actually pulled his phone records to confirm that where he was, and he was in Georgia. I mean, we looked at him that hard, but it was more of an elimination thing.
Well, detectives have a long list of possible suspects to go through. Marissa Green at the Ledger in Lakeland is focused on one person, Dee Dee Moore.
I felt like I had a vested interest in finding Abraham Shakespeare, just like the detectives. A couple of weeks before it was officially announced that Abraham Shakespeare was missing, I met Dee Dee Moore over the phone for the first time. She promised that she could produce him and I could interview him, but that never happened, and it went silent. And so that's when my red flag started to raise about this woman and who she was.
Then in December 2009, Marissa is able to convince Dee Dee to come down to the Ledger newsroom for an interview with her and her editor, Lyle McBride. Dee Dee tells them that at the time Abe disappeared, most of his lottery jackpot was long gone.
And he didn't have any money left, really.
Right, except for what he was collecting, the regular little loans. The few that were paying him back, that's what he was living off of, because everything else was froze. Because all his other money was tied up.
She said everybody else was taking advantage of him, but not her, because she had her own money.
That's the kind of person I am. If you've asked my family and my friends, I've been that way my whole life. I always helped people.
During that 3-hour interview, Dee Dee now tells a different story. Now, she insists that Abe left town to avoid having to pay money in the child support fight he is supposedly having with the mother of his son, Centoria Butler.
And so he was very upset and adamant that he would rather spend 179 days in prison, if they find him, than to pay her anything.
There was never a plan to go to court to get child support. I never attempted to go to court to get child support. That was the end of the story.
So during the interview, we played good cop, bad cop, and I was the bad cop. I was the one asking the hard questions of Dee Dee Moore.
Where is Abraham? Well, Abraham knows he was supposed to go for contempt of child support, okay? And
that's the question I asked. Where is Abraham?
I do not know. And I told the cops this. I do not know his address. I didn't want to know because of the fact that we knew he would have a warrant out for his arrest.
That interview with Dee Dee Moore at the Ledger, it ends without any new information regarding Abe's whereabouts. But then a month and a half after he was reported missing, there's a surprising turn of events involving Abe's mother, Elizabeth Walker.
Dee Dee befriended her. And they're having dinner together one night. The phone rings. And it's Abraham. Hi, Mom. I love you. "Oh, baby, I miss you. Where are you? I can't hear you. It's so loud. I can't really hear you, but I'll be home soon. I love you. I love you too." And that's the end of the call. Dee Dee says, "Oh my God, you know, he called you. See, he's okay." And Miss Walker appears to be relieved, but not quite sure, because Abraham sounded different.
Abe's mom is suspicious.
She was suspicious, didn't think it sounded like her son, but in the back of her mind, maybe he really does have a cold, maybe he's really sick.
Turns out the police are able to trace that phone call, and it leads them not to Abraham Shakespeare, alive and well, but to a very different person.
We had that 30-day location tracker on the phone, so we pulled it up, and it's at the Lakeland Mall.
Will that phone call help cops unravel the mystery of what really happened to Abe Shakespeare? Three weeks after Abe Shakespeare's disappearance is reported to police, the full attention of investigators is now on Dee Dee Moore. She was supposed to have been his financial savior, but they've discovered that she has taken over his lottery fortune. What did you see when you looked into his finances?
Abraham didn't have access to a penny of his money. Dee Dee had not only taken over all of his banking accounts, she had transferred money out of the banking accounts.
Dee Dee tells Abraham that for his benefit, he needs to sign over his assets, and so that she can have control of those assets. That's the way she can protect him from anybody coming after him for any money.
She was now living in his house. I couldn't believe it. I'm like, what would make her want to live in this man's house?
Once we were going deep into the investigation, we tried to find out everything we could about Dee Dee, and we found out, you know, she wasn't who she portrayed herself to be.
Dee Dee Moore's got a checkered past. She's been in trouble with the law before. She's no angel.
After graduating from Plant City High School in Florida, Dee Dee was eventually able to start up that medical staffing company. But she had her share of run-ins with the law, a no-contest plea for petty theft in 1999, and a guilty plea for check fraud back in 2002. There was also one incident where she falsely claimed she was carjacked after falling behind on her vehicle payments.
So she drives the SUV down a dark country road one night, and two Latino men, this is her story, hijack her SUV, tie her up, rape her, beat her, and throw her on the side of the road, and take off with the SUV. Long story short, she had hired these guys to take the car and hide the vehicle from everybody.
Dee Dee was convicted of insurance fraud. And that background raises a lot of eyebrows among detectives investigating Abe Shakespeare's disappearance.
She definitely has the ability to manipulate, to lie, to concoct stories, and so forth, yeah.
We were really convinced that Dee Dee definitely had more information, and we wanted to push some buttons with Dee Dee.
So police pressed Dee Dee for answers about how she's taken over Abe's finances.
You are in essence Abraham, correct?
Yes.
But my point in all of this is all of these people plus all of the real estate comes up to how much?
But you've got to
No, comes up to how much, Dee Dee?
I don't know.
Comes up to how much? So, okay, so I've done the rough math, okay? It comes up to almost $3.5 million.
Okay, if I'm guilty of anything, I'm guilty of helping him avoid child support.
I'm not worried about any of that.
Investigators may have their suspicions about Dee Dee, but what they don't have is any hard evidence tying her to Abe's disappearance. Meanwhile, Dee Dee turns to the media to plead her side of the story.
Because of these people.
Are you talking about your meeting with the cops?
Yeah.
Because of these people, my life has been turned up in the last 2 weeks. All my house has been looked over twice. They've looked through all my papers. They took my computers and downloaded their hard drive. I want this out of my life. And I feel sorry for Abraham. But it has hardened my heart. I don't know if I'll ever help anybody out anymore.
Then 8.5 months after Abe's disappearance and just a couple of days after Christmas, there's a development that sends this case in a dramatic new direction.
The thing that really turns the case was when Elizabeth Walker got that call from her long missing son. Dee Dee Moore was at dinner with Elizabeth Walker when Abraham called.
Abraham's mother called me, and she's like, Detective Clark, Abraham called me and told me Merry Christmas and that he's okay. But she said, it didn't really sound like my son. And I said, what number did that call come from? And she's like, it said private.
It didn't take long for them to look at phone records.
Investigators quickly learned two very critical pieces of information. First, that number is not Abraham Shakespeare's. Second, someone with that phone itself is located very close by, a local mall. So they rush to that local mall to figure out who it is. And incredibly, at almost the same moment they drive in, so does Dee Dee Moore.
And then in drives Dee Dee. It's like a gift from God dropped to us. Crazy. We watch her get out, meet with this guy, hand him a wad of cash.
And this was just, stinking the high heavens.
They talk for a minute. She gets in her car, and she drives away to the north, and this car with this gentleman in it drives away to the south. So we get behind the car, we're following it, and we're like, let's stop it. We go to stop the car. So I just jump out, I go to the guy, and I go, you can either park your car, get in our car, and come with us, or we're going to try to put you in prison the rest of your life. And he goes, well, I guess I'm coming with you.
The man in the car, the man who got the cash from Dee Dee and who owns the phone that made the call to Abe's mom, he is none other than the friend of Abe's who ran the local barber shop, Greg Smith.
Do you know Dee Dee Moore? That's what they asked me. Now I'm thinking to myself, Lord Jesus, what is going on? Did you make a phone call to Abraham's mother? I said, yeah. Well, I make the phone call to his mother, pertaining to be Abraham. I'm supposed to mimic his voice and the way he talked best I can to tell his mom that I'm okay.
Said she's gonna pay me $350. I didn't feel right about it, but I thought I was helping Miss Walker feel better because she's been worried about her son. Greg told them then, I think that Abraham is dead. They said, we think so too. And they said, we need you to keep meeting with Dee Dee because we think she has something to do with this. And we need you to work for us.
And I'm thinking to myself, man, when I needed this man stepped in and helped me.
And the reality of what's at stake sinks in for Greg Smith.
The light click on, okay, she actually is under investigation for killing Abraham Shakespeare. I was like, I'll do what I can.
And so begins an elaborate plot to take down Dee Dee Moore and prove her involvement in Abraham Shakespeare's disappearance. Now, this is going to involve not only an undercover sting, a can of Red Bull, but also a discovery made right in this yard. For Abraham Shakespeare, the good news is you've won the lottery. That's also the bad news.
As of this time, we don't know the whereabouts of Abraham Shakespeare.
Detectives are not only concerned that Abe Shakespeare might be missing, they're concerned he might be dead.
We've got to talk to Dee Dee Moore because everybody is bringing her name up. Whatever story they had, everything just kept circling back.
They're saying that I took a gun and killed another human being.
what they need. They need the evidence.
But I guarantee you, Ronald has killed him.
We're like, Ronald? We've never heard of a Ronald.
She kept saying, Ronald killed him. Ronald shot him.
Why are you laughing?
Because
A man is dead. He's been murdered.
I liked Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck. There are so many things that proves my innocence.
Do you understand how listening to you is bewildering?
Well, do you understand how listening to you is just, it sounds like a bunch of stupidity?
Hello, Florida. It's Wednesday, November 15th. And here are tonight's winning numbers.
Abraham Shakespeare won $31 million in the Florida lottery, going from rags to riches.
But as happens to so many lottery winners, Abe is besieged by people asking him for some of that cash.
I really would like my old life back where I could walk the streets like a normal person, but got people coming up asking for money.
Everybody feels that's their opportunity to get paid.
But then he suddenly disappears.
But no one has seen Shakespeare, including his mother, who's beginning to think the Lotto prize may have been a curse.
Yeah, I'm just hoping to hear something.
There is contact. Family and friends receive text messages from Abraham. In fact, his own mother gets a phone call from Abraham.
I answered the phone. I said, hello?
Upon further investigation, detectives learned that the voice was Greg Smith, the owner of the barbershop where Abraham would work.
I was like, Mom, how you doing? This Abraham.
Greg claims he faked that call at the request of a woman named Dee Dee Moore, who was helping Abe with his finances, and the police start investigating her.
Despite running a legitimate business, Dee Dee Moore has a checkered past. She's been in trouble with the law before.
Greg decides he does not want to go to jail, so he helps investigators with their case. And one way that he does it is by becoming a confidential informant.
I didn't set a plan out to go catch her. I just told him I'd see what I could do.
I'm getting ready to talk to Dee Dee. She's getting in the car now.
When I interviewed Greg Smith back in 2012, he showed me how he secretly recorded conversations with her using something he called a catch can, which he invented himself.
It's a Red Bull can.
Look at that thing. I wouldn't figure out how it opens even.
It actually separates in between.
Oh yeah? Wow. That's brilliant.
That's the Dee Dee Moore catch can.
I worked undercover narcotics for 8 years, and I wouldn't have came up with this. Almost all of the meetings were in a car. Here it is sitting in front of her. She doesn't even know it's there.
Well, they'll never know about you anyway. I never give you up. You know what I'm saying?
Ever.
Man, listen, I'm so deep in it with you right now. If you go down, I go down right now.
Yeah.
It was ingenious, but he even took it a step further. He would be smoking small cigars as they talked so that she wouldn't get suspicious. He would make it a point to flick ashes on or into the can as they were talking.
Pretty simple trick, but it worked good, and it gave us a good recording of the car.
I just need some time to get freaking Abraham back.
Dee Dee is recorded telling Greg that Abe is alive. After she had asked Greg to make that fake call to Abe's mom, Dee Dee now asks him to call someone else to continue spreading the news that Abe is okay.
Should I say that he talked to his mom?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's gonna make it more convincing.
But he told her if she tells anybody, he'll never call back. Okay. You make sure you say that.
That sounds a little bit more convincing.
Say that if she tells anybody, Abraham told her he would never call back.
What's up, Dee Dee?
Greg later reports back to her that the call went well.
So you tell him, yeah, he's still living.
I said, yeah, he's still living. I said, if anybody want to know if he's still living, yeah, he's still living.
At one point, the investigation moves to a local hotel where Dee Dee Moore and Greg Smith meet.
So Dee Dee and Greg go to the hotel to follow up that fake phone call with a fake letter?
Yes, they did.
These rooms is expensive.
We're listening as they're in the hotel.
That's not the same laptop you had. You went and bought that today?
Here comes a brand new laptop and a brand new printer. But she is very paranoid now about leaving any traces that can be taken back to her.
So she's dressed in full hospital gown, gloves, face mask, hair, so that while she's typing, that none of her DNA gets on the paper or gets on the envelope or anything.
She is determined. You will not find any Dee Dee Moore DNA here.
Chocolate, I don't want you to show this letter to the cops. I just want you to tell them that it was me.
They spent about 2 hours composing this letter to Abe's mother, with Greg offering suggestions to Dee Dee about how Abe would actually talk.
And we're down there laughing because Greg's like, no, maybe you should say bro instead of brother.
If I had to take this letter here, and I had to read this letter, and I had to understand this letter, the letter is convincing to me. It couldn't have came from you.
How do you do it to anybody, but how do you do it to a 70-plus-year-old woman who hasn't seen her son in months? I mean, devious, manipulative, evil.
He puts it in the mailbox, he leaves, I take the letter out of the mailbox and put it in evidence.
Remember, those close to Abe knew that he could barely read or write. I mean, this is a copy of the letter.
Yeah.
And for a guy who, even though his name was Shakespeare, I mean,
right,
he didn't write. This is like 6 or 7 pages.
Exactly.
I only wrote you just in case you really worried, just in case you can't keep this to yourself and you're really worried about me. Here's a Christmas present to you.
The letter is more like a treatise about everything that Abraham would be trying to explain to his mother about why he went away and what hassle he went through once he got all the money, and how sometimes he wishes he didn't have all this money, but that he's doing okay and he's trying to stay away and get his life together. I mean, it went on and on and on for pages.
But what Dee Dee Moore does next will remove all doubt. Abraham Shakespeare is not okay at all.
With a body, I can do a plea deal with him.
What do you want?
50 grand.
If you do this, you're going to be a very popular person. You're going to be a legend.
By this point, all of the law enforcement officers' instincts are firing on code red. They feel that Dee Dee Moore knew what happened to Abraham Shakespeare. What they need the evidence.
So at one point, you ask the sheriff to hold a press conference.
As of this time, we don't know the whereabouts of Abraham Shakespeare.
And at that point, the sheriff says, hey, we think that Abe Shakespeare may have been met with foul play.
We suspect that he's met an untimely death.
He also names Dee Dee Moore as a person of interest.
I must tell you, folks, that certainly it is fair to call Dee Dee Moore a person of interest.
After that press conference, I believe she felt the walls closing in on her.
So immediately she calls Greg Smith. We've got to do something. Did you see what Sheriff Judd's saying about me?
And that's when the next phase of the case begins, convincing Dee Dee that if Abe is actually dead, to admit what really happened.
They come up with this idea that they will get a fall guy who will say, you know, I'll take the blame and say that I killed Abraham Shakespeare.
We call a guy named Mike Smith. I mean, he's just a very large, intimidating fella, and one of the best undercover guys I've ever worked with.
And his last name happened to be Smith, the same as Greg Smith, and they pretended to be cousins.
So we tell Greg, we just want you to tell her that you have a cousin that's going to prison. If there happens to be something wrong with Abe, I bet for the right amount of money, he'll take a murder rap.
And I said, I know somebody. I got a cousin finna do 25 years that'll take that rap. Yeah, I got somebody.
Here's the deal. I went and talked to him. He said, okay, I'll do this.
When can I talk to him?
She reacted way more than we expected. She immediately says, I want to meet him. I want to meet him as soon as possible.
So soon after, they arrange a face-to-face meeting in another parking lot in Lakeland.
I pulled in right about this area here.
Okay.
And parked. She comes over, he jumps in the back seat, she jumps in the front.
Hello.
Hello.
All right, this is my baby right here. You gotta take care of her, buddy.
He introduces us. We talk, small talk, briefly for a couple minutes.
Who does she think that you are at this point?
At that point, Greg had sold a story to her that I was a drug dealer. I was just a drug dealer. He knew I was just drug dealer. They got busted by the feds that was going away, that was willing to take the rap.
Yeah, I'm in over my head. I've never been through nothing like this in my life.
The meeting is taking place in a undercover vehicle that we had equipped with listening devices and recording devices.
And what was Dee Dee's demeanor like in the car? Was she twitching? Do you think
She was all chipper, just normal. I believe the question was, why would you take the rap?
Why would you do that, though, for me?
I'm going anyhow.
I'm
going anyhow.
Well, I can tell you, if you do this, you're going to be a very popular person. You're gonna be a legend, and probably on the Oprah show.
When I told her, I said, I got busted by the feds, man. I'm gonna go do 25 years. I need the money to leave to my baby mama so she can take care of my child.
What do you want?
50 grand.
Okay. Can I do it in payments? Because I don't have that kind of cash. I'm gonna have to sell some.
I'm gonna need 10 up front. Once I do this, make sure my boy get the money.
Okay.
But that's not enough. You feel like you need more out of her.
I felt like I needed more out of her. I felt like we needed a body. Like I said, I'm gonna need a body. Probably can get a plea deal with them because they definitely gonna want the body.
Okay.
And then Mike tells her, wherever the body is, I want to move it because if I'm going to confess to this, I'm going to make it my own. And she brings up, there's a guy named Ronald, a drug dealer.
If you take the rap, he is not going to show up. And I guarantee you, Ronald has killed him. I just know it.
We're like, Ronald? We've never heard of a Ronald.
And Ronald's the one he owed the money to?
Yeah, they were doing a drug deal. No, I think Ronald killed him for the money Abraham had on him. Abraham had a ton of cash on him, like the tune of $800,000.
This is a huge development. Whoever Ronald is, Dee Dee has just admitted for the first time that she knows that Abe is dead.
That's the biggest moment of the case. That's where we know 100% he's dead. I mean, for us, couldn't have been a bigger moment than that right there.
She kept saying, Ronald killed him. Ronald shot him. I said, well, where's the body, Dee Dee? You get with Ronald and ask him, Ronald can tell us body at. That way when I plea deal with, I can tell them the body is right here and they will dig him up.
Okay.
And they'll have a body.
Okay.
Get with Ronald, find we need to know.
Okay.
I'll back up my boy.
Okay. I'll do it.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.
It was nice meeting you.
The next morning, Dee Dee calls Greg and says, we need to meet and make it quick.
Dee Dee wants Mike Smith to be able to confess as soon as possible so that the investigators will stop looking at her.
I think that they're watching all the properties and all the friends' properties I have.
He goes and meets Dee Dee, and Dee Dee hands him a towel. There's something wrapped in the towel, and she tells him, this is the gun that was used to kill Abraham.
We're going to grind Then we put his handprints on it, and we'll put it somewhere.
So she handed over her gun to you.
Exactly.
She trusted you that much that she handed you the murder weapon.
Exactly.
She asked him to meet him back at the same spot later in the night. She would show him exactly where the body was.
This is the perfect time.
Plant City.
We'll call me in Plant City.
Yeah.
All right.
We set it up for her to take me to the body now.
Just like I figured, the body's still on that property. We're moving the body tonight.
Dee Dee thinks that once Greg and his cousin dig up the body, she's going to be home free. But she has no idea what is actually about to happen next. Not long after Dee Dee meets with the man who she believes will take the rap for killing Abe Shakespeare, she's driving along this road with Greg Smith, heading to a property she owns on the outskirts of Lakeland.
So Highway 60, it's considered a rural area of Hillsborough County. There's a lot of tomato fields, strawberry farms, and so forth.
You feel like you're in the country. Dee Dee's property has 2 ranch-style houses that are several yards apart.
They parked over at this house. We were just kind of on the side of the road with our lights off. She walks Greg right here. There was a 30-foot by 30-foot concrete slab.
Concrete slab in the middle of a field?
Yeah. She takes a piece of angle iron and sticks it in the corner of the slab and sticks it down in there and says, dig. Abraham's body's right there.
It's right here. It'll be 9 foot. It'll be 9 foot deep.
And you're listening to this. You guys must be just going nuts at this point.
I think once we heard that, we both look at each other and go, wow, let's just hope this isn't another Dee Dee spin or scam on things.
We didn't know if we actually had the body down there or not.
As authorities begin this arduous work to uncover what's below ground, they simultaneously set up their next tactic for Dee Dee. A few hours later, investigators have Greg call her again. He says, there's a big problem. When we went to dig up the body, the place was swarming with cops. Dee Dee's response? Meet me at the mall.
Greg and Dee Dee then meet when all of a sudden, boom, the cops pull up. They jump out and they bust Greg.
I'm sure she's thinking that we're arresting Greg for the murder of Abraham. So she's composed and says she wants to come back and talk to us and let us know some things.
Okay, so you get her in here. That's you.
That's me.
Okay, who is this guy?
Gregory Smith.
Gregory Smith.
That's who I know him as.
Okay.
Abraham introduced me to him.
She first says, hey, I'm glad y'all got that guy, Greg. I think that he's done something to Abraham.
Find out what he knows, because he knows where Abraham's at.
And so I let her go on for a few minutes, and I said, look, Dee Dee, I got some bad news for you.
I think you know where I'm going with this, Dee Dee. The gig is up. Okay? The gig is up. Listen, everything that you've told him, everything you've done, everything is recorded, Dee Dee. Everything is recorded.
Finally, you see her demeanor change. She rests her head on her hand.
We talk to him 10 times a day. We know every move you made. We know everything.
Dee Dee Moore is caught pretty much red-handed.
I want a deal, and I won't give you the person's name.
Dee Dee, at various times, blamed everybody under the sun for killing Abraham.
He gave me the name of the person that did it.
And here she goes into the whole Ronald, some random drug dealing guy.
I honestly don't know the guy's name. I know him by Ronald.
So it's Greg Smith, it's Ronald, it's Mike Smith, the undercover.
The undercover, it's her son, it's Cedric Edom.
Everybody else.
Crazy, crazy.
Police say there is zero evidence that any of those people were actually involved.
Dee Dee, you've said so many things you can't even keep your head straight. Okay, well, listen. Who shot Abraham?
You know who shot him.
No. Who shot Abraham?
You know who shot him.
Authorities allow her to leave because without a body, they didn't have a case to arrest her.
Meantime, back at Dee Dee's property in Plant City, a team has assembled to attempt to find the evidence they need to actually arrest her.
We're talking probably 30, maybe 40 folks. This is definitely not a run-of-the-mill scene. The concrete slab was like a 900 square foot tombstone.
We've got a 30 by 30, 9-inch thick concrete slab that we've got to bust up.
On day one, there was nothing found. They kept digging, and digging.
This is a painstaking task. This is 2 inches at a time, sifting through everything.
This was almost an archaeological dig here.
It was. I mean, every quadrant, everything, just so we didn't miss anything.
And at a point, once we hit about 9 feet, we started to uncover what appeared to be human remains.
You were able to look at this corpse, and you knew it was Abraham.
You didn't need
I
DNA?
didn't need fingerprints. I didn't need DNA. I mean, of course we did that, but I looked, and there's Abraham.
Investigators from Polk and Hillsborough counties announced a discovery tonight.
We have recovered human remains.
The media was doing a stakeout to try to get reaction from Dee Dee. And she drives by in a truck, rolls her window down.
I'm only coming out because the media will not leave.
And it develops into kind of an impromptu news conference.
They're saying that I took a gun, put it up, and killed another human being, and I would never, ever do that.
But the very next day...
Hey, Dee Dee, they're calling you a murderer. Are you a murderer? No.
Doris Dee Dee Moore denied any involvement in Abraham Shakespeare's murder as she was led into a deputy's car tonight.
It was shocking. Here's someone who was supposed to be helping this guy with his money, and now she's the one charged with his murder.
By the time we presented to the grand jury, she had provided the murder weapon, the body's behind one of her houses.
It's at about $1 million.
Dee Dee Moore was indicted for first-degree murder, premeditated murder of Abraham Shakespeare.
Dee Dee pleads not guilty, and when her trial starts...
As the now dark-dressed and dressed in yellow defendant took copious notes, lawyers from both sides made their opening arguments to the jury of 8 men and 4 women.
There's one big question. Will a jury believe her defense that she was actually a victim herself of the person she claims killed Abe? Six years after Abraham Shakespeare won the Florida lottery, 3.5 years after he disappeared, the murder trial of Dee Dee Moore is set to begin in this courthouse in Tampa.
State of Florida versus Doris Donegan Moore.
This has been a full day packed with the opening statements this morning and then the testimony this afternoon in what promises to be a full of drama trial.
The public's interest in this case was incredible.
Prosecutors claim Dee Dee Moore swindled.
Journalists are always looking for something that is unprecedented.
Dee Dee's diabolical scheme to steal from, then kill lotto winner Abraham Shakespeare.
Or unusual, conflict, scandal. And this had pretty much all of the elements.
An anaphylactic shock.
Of course, Dee Dee's behavior in the courtroom also helped keep the story going.
Another day, another outburst.
We're not going to go back and forth. You need to compose yourself.
The prosecution is out to convince the jury that Dee Dee meticulously planned Abe's murder.
She conducted a sophisticated campaign to conceal his death by making up stories, by sending text messages.
It don't matter.
Prosecutors show the jury video that Dee Dee took of Abraham in the mansion, and it's really the last piece of video of Abraham alive.
Are you gonna miss your home?
Yep, I miss it, but life goes on.
She's setting up her alibi. She was setting up her story. She knew that Abraham was confronting her about the lack of funds and the ability to access his money and so forth. And it came to a point where, in Dee Dee's mind, she's going to have to do something about this.
Prosecutors believe right after that recording, Dee Dee and Abe traveled to her home in rural Plant City, Florida. And it's there that prosecutors say she shoots him and leaves him until the next day.
The body's on property she owns. The murder happened in her house and with her gun. She admitted she bought the lime that was poured over the body of Abraham Shakespeare.
Prosecutors show video in court of Dee Dee going to Walmart to buy cleaning supplies.
She was purchasing bleach and like latex gloves and I think some shovels to help Mike Smith and Greg Smith dig this body out by hand and dispose of it.
Although Dee Dee has never faced formal charges alleging she stole Abe's money, prosecutors say it was greed that motivated her to kill him.
Centuria is Abraham's former girlfriend, and she tells jurors that Dee Dee told her that she was plotting to take his money.
She made it sound like she wanted to clean him out.
Why do you say that?
Because she wanted to know about all of his assets, and she was like, I can help you clean him out. It was just a level of disgust to just know that this is what such a caring and giving person endured.
But the prosecutor's star witness is Greg Smith, who takes the stand to deliver some of the most compelling and devastating testimony at the trial so far.
Greg Smith had been recruited by the sheriff's detectives to become her confidant, and the courtroom was just spellbound by his testimony.
I'm grown and don't have to come back.
When Greg Smith read the letter that Dee Dee Moore had composed in the motel room, jurors were on the edge of their seat.
I've been through a lot, Mom. You know it. You should understand more than anyone. I just need time.
The prosecution also asks Greg Smith about that supposed drug dealer who Dee Dee claimed was the one who actually murdered Abe.
I honestly don't know the guy's name. I know him by Ronald.
Did Miss Moore address who to blame if you got caught?
Yes, she was addressing the guy Ronald, the imaginary character that she made up.
Ronald is nothing but a fictional character, a character that she created out of her imagination.
The defense, such as it was primarily based on that old premise that the state's case was all circumstantial, that there was no hard evidence, there were no eyewitnesses.
The burden of proof is on the state. It's a very high burden of proof beyond any reasonable doubt.
Dee Dee's lawyer tells the jury there's plenty of reasonable doubt here and that there could be many other possible suspects.
That the drug dealers or killers saw fit to threaten her to keep her mouth shut, or else they would harm her and her son.
The defense argues that Greg Smith could actually have been the mastermind in Abe's murder.
If you study those tapes, most of the ideas about the fall guy, about where's the body, we've got to find the body, we've got to dig up the body and move it, all those things, if you read or listen to those tapes, it is Mr. Smith making those suggestions.
Gregory Smith has never been a suspect in this murder.
But Dee Dee's attorney insists she is innocent, that she's a victim, in fact, powerless against the deadly whims of others.
This is a desperate, panicked, perhaps emotionally unstable woman trying desperately to find an explanation that can salvage her life and her son's.
By the end of their case, the defense called 0 witnesses, and Dee Dee herself never testified on her behalf.
Tonight, after just 3 hours of deliberation, a jury handed down their verdict.
But no matter what the jury decides about her fate,
Bring the jury in.
Dee Dee's about to tell us exactly what she thinks about it.
But they didn't get to hear my side. They didn't get to see my evidence. They didn't get to hear my witnesses.
Why didn't you take the stand then? After almost 2 weeks of this roller coaster murder trial, it's now up to the jury to decide Dee Dee's fate.
Bring the jury in. Tonight, after just 3 hours of deliberation, a jury handed down their verdict.
Juries do unpredictable things at times.
Is that indeed the jury's verdict?
It was probably 7 o'clock at night. A storm was coming in. Right as they read guilty on the first count,
The defendant is guilty of first-degree murder.
a clap of lightning happens outside and just kind of lights up the courtroom. It was kind of like, yeah, it was wild.
Abraham Shakespeare was your prey and your victim. Money was the root of the evil that you brought to Abraham.
The judge made a brief statement about how heinous her crime was and that he would be sentencing her to life in a Florida state prison without the possibility of parole.
I felt like he did get justice because even though his life was cut short, her life is just going to be long and miserable.
I won't forgive her. I don't forgive, and I never will.
Convicted murderers rarely talk while they still have appeals left, but then again, Dee Dee Moore is no ordinary murderer.
I'm not nervous. I don't get nervous.
Hi. After Dee Dee was sentenced to life in prison without parole in 2012, 2020 was granted an exclusive interview with Dee Dee here in her cell block's cafeteria. Upon arrival, we quickly learned that Dee Dee wasn't exactly camera shy.
Yeah, I've been on TV before.
Okay, that's good to hear. You're a pro.
Let me show you this.
And this is fan mail. This is people.
I have more than fan mail. I have a movie producer doing a big TV screen production of my case.
Despite that jury taking less than 3 hours to convict her, Dee Dee vehemently maintains her innocence.
I think people are complete idiots that think I had anything to do with it. I really do.
When the guilty verdict was read, what went through your mind?
They murdered me by the hands of justice. I'm murdered. You might as well kill me, because this is no type of living in here. Because I would never harm another human being. I would never hurt nobody. I liked Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and Disney. I like Tinkerbell and kind things. I'm not a mean person.
After a 2-week trial filled with damning audio and video evidence, I wondered if Dee Dee might finally come clean about what really happened to Abraham Shakespeare. Did you murder Abraham Shakespeare?
Absolutely not.
Did you bury him in your backyard?
Absolutely not.
Why are you laughing?
Because
a man is dead. He's been murdered,
yes,
clearly.
Yes.
And you're laughing.
Yeah. Because I find it entertaining that people are that ignorant. Because there are so many things that proves my innocence.
You ended up in his house with all the rest of his money. Then he ended up dead in your property.
Okay. But
shot by your gun. You don't find any of that unusual or odd?
Absolutely not, considering the people he hung around. I only knew this man for 4 months, and I'm just gonna, oh my goodness, I met this man, and you know what? I'm gonna plot a murder in 4 months.
Do you understand how listening to you is bewildering?
Well, do you understand how listening to you is just, it sounds like a bunch of stupidity?
So if Dee Dee's claims are so convincing, why didn't the jury buy it? Well, she blames it all on her own attorney.
About me. I personally would have convicted myself for what they got to hear, but they didn't get to hear my side. They didn't get to see my evidence. They didn't get to hear my witnesses.
Why didn't you take the stand then?
Because
you had every opportunity to defend yourself.
I wanted my witnesses to take the stand for me to take the stand. My lawyer says we didn't need it.
Your lawyer was that convinced you were going to win?
Yes.
But Dee Dee's lawyer, Byron Heilman, said the decision not to testify was Dee Dee's, and Dee Dee's alone.
We discussed with Ms. Moore whether she wished to testify. That discussion had gone on for quite some time, and she made the decision not to do that.
But since she claims her case was not properly presented in court, Dee Dee tries with us. People were trying to frame you.
Absolutely.
Why?
Because, first of all, I was an easy target.
A target, she claims, for drug dealers. Remember the story about Ronald, that so-called drug kingpin? Dee Dee claims the gang he allegedly had was out to kill her.
They were going to take my son and kill him and chop him up and put him on my doorstep.
Who?
These guys that the sheriff's department says didn't exist. That we have witnesses that they do exist.
You give so many different versions that it's absolutely bewildering. Why is that?
I'm threatened. They're making.
So you're lying to the police because you feel threatened?
No, I'm being told to do that. I'm being told to just keep throwing them off.
By
Ronald.
Dee Dee claims she has witnesses who will back up her version of events, but she wasn't eager to share those names with us. Can we talk to your witnesses? Who are they? you mind if we take down their names and maybe contact them?
I'd have to ask my lawyer, but I don't know if they'll...
These witnesses don't exist, and that certainly looks like your handwriting.
What do you mean?
That looks like your handwriting. What you said were witnesses' notes looks like your handwriting.
No,
I don't
it's
think
not.
that these witnesses exist. If not, why won't we know? So, Dee Dee says since she's appealing her conviction, she can't actually talk about them. And with that, our interview is over.
Robert, we need to go and take her now. Okay, thank you. Well, it was nice meeting you.
You too. Dee Dee may not have been willing to share her evidence of supposed witnesses with us, but she's going to get a chance to present her claims in court.
Is going to be back in court today. Dee Dee Moore will try to convince a judge to give her a retrial.
Will it be enough to get her murder conviction overturned? After years of filing motions to appeal her conviction, in July of 2023, Dee Dee finally gets another day in court.
Dee Dee Moore is back in a Tampa courtroom demanding a new trial.
Dee Dee tells the judge that she was framed by investigators who were paid off by those drug dealers that she alleged were doing business with Abraham Shakespeare.
They're being paid under the table because cocaine dealers can afford a lot.
The investigators denied Dee Dee's allegations.
I have never heard of anything of this corrupt drug network involving Abraham Shakespeare or corruption within either of our departments.
It's absurd. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
The judge denied Dee Dee's request for a new trial. But that wasn't the last time we heard from Dee Dee. More than 12 years after we first talked in Florida, we spoke to Dee Dee again on a call for prison. Tell me, how are you?
I'm fine. I've been working on my case, and I've got my appeals out, so I'm waiting patiently.
How long have you been incarcerated in jail and in prison at this point?
14 years.
You still do not admit that you murdered Abe Shakespeare?
Absolutely not. I didn't.
14 years is a lot of time to think. Do you ever go back and think about Abe, about Abraham Shakespeare?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was wrong. There was no reason for him to pass away over money. But for them to lie in public and say that it took his money, the whole situation was so stupid.
You murdered him and you've taken zero responsibility. And you're saying, like, in past tense, that it's so sad he had to pass away. Abraham Shakespeare did not pass away. Abraham Shakespeare was shot at close range.
Everything they said in jury trials was not true.
I thought that you might,
Remorse?
more than a decade after our interview, have some remorse, some reflection about what had happened. That maybe there was a little bit of softness in your heart about Abraham and about your responsibility here.
There is plenty of softness in my heart.
She is still as adamant as she ever was that she was framed, that Abraham Shakespeare was murdered by someone else. She denies taking Abe's money. She denies doing anything wrong. Abraham Shakespeare not only lost his fortune and his life, he lost the chance to see his children grow up.
Everyone, thank you for coming.
The funeral was very emotional. It was a celebration of his life, but it was also very sad to learn that he was killed for his money. Was just something that everybody could not understand.
He was a kind-hearted person who genuinely wanted to help people. He helped tons of people in this city. He kept people from going into foreclosure. He paid light bills, phone bills. He honestly did that.
Imagine just spending your last $4, which is what Abraham Shakespeare did on those lottery tickets, putting your last money on a far-fetched dream. Abraham did a lot of good with some of his winnings. The favor wasn't returned to him.
He was a wonderful man.
Yeah.
He will be sorely missed.
I'll never forget, after they found him, I remember having a dream And I remember in the dream telling Abraham, oh good, you can come with me now. And he kept saying, no, you'll be okay. That was enough for me to believe that I'll be okay. I really miss him today. I really just need to hear his voice today. I just want him, like, bring him back.
Remembering Abraham with a broken heart and missing him, Centauria is now a traveling nurse.
And we should note that Jeremiah, their son, he is now 16 years old. That's our program for tonight. Thank you for watching. I'm David Muir.
And I'm Deborah Roberts. From all of us here at 2020 and ABC News, good night. Tonight, the relationship some people say sounds like a real-life Silence of the Lambs.
Missing women, a terrifying suspect, and the detective who risks her life to solve the case. An all-new 2020 starts right now.
It was a baffling case.
Baffling.
To have missing women in this town of Ashland is a big deal.
A huge
Unusual.
deal. Very, very unusual.
Elizabeth was very naive. She would trust anybody and everybody. She was like, why haven't I heard from her and I can't find her?
The last known images of Elizabeth Griffith were recorded while she was shopping inside this Walmart.
It seemed like a very short time frame that people started to look for Elizabeth, that now Stacy is gone.
Just love to dance and just have fun with the kids. Just a bundle of joy.
She's like, some nice guy stopped to help.
You told her, let him go. Tell him to leave. You've got help coming.
Yeah. And
she wouldn't?
But now, a phone call that would change everything. A third woman taken.
There was a female and that she had been held captive.
Sounds like something out of a movie.
Absolutely.
A horror movie.
You can hear her desperation for help.
It's a chilling call.
Oh, come on. Just set the phone down.
Did you know anything about what you were about to face?
No.
And I saw her hand. I saw her outstretched hand through the window.
And then the line goes silent.
Yep.
What is the address to your emergency? 4th Street, Laundromat. What's the problem? I've been assaulted.
It's 6:48 a.m. in September 2016. Emergency dispatchers receive a 911 call from a terrified woman. She's whispering that she's being held at a house near the laundromat and that her captor is asleep at her side.
Is he in the same room with you? Yes. Does he have a weapon? He's got a taser. Is there any way you can get out of the building? I don't know. Without waking him, and I'm scared. His bedroom is closed, and he made it so it would make noise. And we have officers we're sending.
Officer Kurt Dorsey rushes to the scene, leaving his siren off so that it does not alert the abductor. So, what were you doing when the call came in?
We responded from the police station. We were trying to be stealthy. We were told that the suspect was sleeping, so we wanted to approach and not make a bunch of noise.
You weren't even sure the call was real, right?
I didn't believe it was real at first, just because of the town that we live in. Just not a typical call that we would get in Ashland.
Ashland, Ohio. It's a small city between Columbus and Cleveland, home to more than 50 churches and a large Amish community.
Ashland is a quiet, rural community. There's about
20,000 people who live there. It has a university, a lot of farm field.
So this is Ashland. What can you tell me about the town?
Well, as you can see, it's rolling hills, scenic. A lot of community stuff going on. Football games. The county fair. A lot of farm animals, a lot of competitions and shows for kids to get involved with.
Typical small town where everyone knows everyone, right?
Yes, exactly.
Kim Major has had 23 years of service as a detective in Ashland.
I handled violent crime and I handled sex offenses and child abuse. I'm over 1,000 of those cases.
1,000?
Yeah.
At the time of that terrifying 911 call, the community is already on edge. Just a week before, police discovered that a woman in town had simply vanished.
Well, there was a missing person named Elizabeth Griffith.
Yes. Elizabeth was known in our town. I had had contact with her. I think we all had. A lot of the officers would have an eye on her.
She was kind of a vulnerable person, and we helped her quite a bit as a police division.
She used to call them quite frequently. She would call them about anything and everything. Just like, I heard it's going to snow today. Is there any chance that the roads will be closed? She was definitely a character.
Facing mental health challenges, 29-year-old Elizabeth Griffith attended meetings at a peer support center called LifeWorks.
Elizabeth was very bubbly and energetic. The first time I met Elizabeth was at LifeWorks, and she was coming down the hallway and I was coming opposite of her. And she was like, "Hey, you're new here." And I was like, "Yeah?" And she was like, "You want to be my friend?" And I was like, "Sure, let's be friends."
She was embraced not just by LifeWorks, but also by her church family.
Elizabeth was a really sweet girl, a simple person. She liked to make people laugh. She liked to sing. She loved to worship. She would raise her hand the highest during worship. Even though she was tone deaf, she'd sing louder than anyone else. She was very much with the heart of a child. It was a little harder for her to grasp some things sometimes.
She was a very loving person and a very loyal person. Certainly financial challenges, certainly medical challenges, mental health challenges.
She lived on her own in her own apartment. She did have a case manager that kind of helped her with daily life struggles. She was always introducing herself to everybody, very outgoing.
The community knew Elizabeth, and she was one of ours, and she was taken care of.
But then Elizabeth's support team realizes no one has seen her in weeks.
We were at LifeWorks and the phone rang, and it was Elizabeth's case manager. And she had asked if we had seen Elizabeth lately. She was like, "I can't find her." So I called her cell phone and it just went straight to voicemail, which was highly unlikely for Elizabeth. I was like, something's not right.
I was concerned because where would she have gone? What could have happened?
She wasn't the type of person that would go missing, so we sort of knew something was wrong there.
This is an area where I would often see Elizabeth Griffith walking, and just days before her disappearance, I stopped and chatted with her right up here.
It was a baffling case.
It was baffling. We didn't know if she had taken off or did she meet somebody online and leave. We didn't know if it was suicide. We didn't know where she was.
Everybody was taking to social media, posting pictures of her. Everyone was looking for her. Everybody was praying for her.
Police began to investigate, speaking to Elizabeth's neighbors and friends and tracing her last known steps.
I began talking with some of the public transit drivers because she would often use public transportation.
Before she disappeared, records showed that Elizabeth had taken the bus to go shopping.
The last known images of Elizabeth Griffith were recorded while she was shopping inside this Walmart.
There's video of her going through the aisles and then waiting for the bus.
She disappeared shortly thereafter, and she wouldn't be the only one. It turns out there's another missing woman in Ashland.
I said, all right, Mom, I love you. I'll talk to you tomorrow. And that was the last we ever heard from her.
Police in Ashland, Ohio are searching for missing woman Elizabeth Griffith, and then they discover there's a second woman in town who also has mysteriously disappeared. 43-year-old Stacy Stanley, a divorced mom, devoted to her sons, Curtis and Corey.
One of my mom's favorite songs was Leonard Skinner, Freebird. It's a pretty good song.
Corey likes simple pleasures, playing music, riding his motorcycle on the highways of Ohio, raising his baby daughter. For him, family is everything, and his bond with his mother, Stacy, has always been particularly tight.
Good boy, you kicked your brother.
How would you describe her?
Very loving and caring, to do anything for anybody, you know, give the shirt off her back if she needed to.
Always there for her kids, calling you consistently. You know, if you didn't pick up, she'd call you like 1,000 times.
My sister was a very outgoing person.
It's a perfect time to make this wish. Have a happy birthday. Love, Grandma and Grandpa Stanley. $5.
Growing up, we were so close in age and we shared the same room and stuff growing up.
Karaoke?
She would sing some songs.
Now and then when I see her face.
She loved punk rock music and the look, too.
Guns N' Roses, Sweet Child of Mine. I actually had a video of her singing it when we were kids. I was videotaping her singing that.
So she was not afraid to get on stage and perform?
No.
Even as adults, you were pretty close.
Yeah, I'd come home from work and she'd have big bunches of food made up, and I was like, oh, wow.
I hear she was a great cook.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't get look like this over nothing, you know.
She fed you well, huh?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
And Stacy was a new grandmother to Curtis's 3-year-old daughter.
She was a great grandmother. She was spoiled the hell out of her, for sure.
Just love to dance and just have fun with the kids. Just a bundle of joy.
Stacy lived in Greenwich, Ohio, 30 minutes from Ashland.
Stacy was not from our county. She was from a county that butts up to our county, and she had visited Ashland.
It was September 8th, 2016, when she takes a fateful drive to Ashland to run some errands.
She went to Walmart to get some gardening supplies because she loved doing her gardening. And she also went to get her nails done. And then after that, she was getting some gas and to come back home.
It's around 8:30 at night when Stacy calls her son Corey from this gas station. She's stranded here with a flat tire and needs help.
She was like freaking out. And I said, well, just calm down. We'll find somebody to help you.
Were you worried?
Oh, not necessarily out the rip.
It's just a flat tire, you're thinking?
Just a flat tire, yeah.
They're able to find a family friend to meet Stacy at the gas station, but it turns out a stranger has also shown up to help.
She's like, some nice guy stopped to help. I had then told her to tell him, you know, kick rocks. We got somebody coming to help you. And
she wouldn't?
Well, she's like, oh, he's a nice guy, just stopped to help. And so my mom, you know, the person she was friendly and talked to people. This guy takes over and he changes the tire. She offers him a ride home. And I said, all right, Mom. Well, I said, call me in the morning. She's like, okay, I love you. I'll talk to you tomorrow. I said, all right, love you too, Mom.
But the next day, Corey and Curtis don't receive the usual flurry of calls from their mom.
And then I talked to my aunt, and I'm like, hey, mom's not picking up. I don't know what's going on. We ended up breaking into her house to get in, and she had 2 little dogs. She loved them little dogs, little chihuahuas.
Her dogs were still in their kennel, so we knew something was going on.
The Huron County Sheriffs had put out a bolo, be on the lookout for her vehicle.
We went driving the roads,
Looking for her.
in case she might have had an accident, was down in a ravine or a ditch or anything. We went looking, driving the routes from Ashland back to Greenwich.
Within hours, Stacy's family spreads out across the streets of Ashland, trying to find any trace of her.
We went down to the gas station, the BP, where she was last seen.
I had printed off like almost 2,000 or 3,000 flyers. We were just passing them out and putting them up everywhere. And there's probably a good 70 of us, at least, out there handing flyers out.
Detective Brian Evans is on patrol in Ashland when he spots the family.
As I was driving around the city of Ashland, I met up with different groups of her family who was actively searching for Stacy at the time. They were in different groups knocking on doors. They were going down to some abandoned buildings.
Well, I came across the radio that somebody had reported her car on East 9th Street in Ashland. We beat the cops over to the car.
And I opened the door, and I looked, I was like, the seat was all the way back. So my mom was short, so it didn't make sense why the seat was back.
I had grabbed her cigarette container she put her cigarette butts in, and I happened to see a Camel filtered cigarettes in there, and I was like, these aren't my mom's. My mom don't smoke these. At this point, you know, it's alarming because somebody else was in this car.
So now it's not just Elizabeth Griffith who is missing in Ashland.
It seemed like a very short time frame that people started to look for Elizabeth, that now Stacy is gone. The odds of 2 women missing at the same time just did not make sense whatsoever.
To have 2 missing women in this town of Ashland is a big deal.
It's a huge
Unusual?
deal. Very, very unusual for a county this size to have anyone missing, much less 2 women missing.
The community had concern. The word was starting to spread around.
We were like, what's really going on? It's Ashland. Like, stuff like that doesn't happen in Ashland.
Then a heart-stopping clue in a window at the back of the house. Sounds like something out of a movie.
Absolutely.
A horror movie.
I'm a 911 dispatcher, Ashland Police Department. I've been a dispatcher for 26 years.
What is your typical day like?
I go to work, sign into all the computers. We usually have 6 to 8 screens, depending on what center you're at. Answer calls. You never know when the call will come in or what kind of call it's going to be.
Your most memorable call?
Probably this one.
911, what is the address to your emergency?
September 13th, 2016, 6:48 a.m.
Yep, the end of my shift.
By September 13, 2016, Elizabeth Griffith had not been seen for a month. Stacy Stanley for 5 days.
You're working the dispatch and you get that call.
At first I couldn't hear her. It was real quiet. She was whispering.
What's the problem? I've been posted.
She says, I've been abducted.
Yes.
Your reaction?
My reaction was to find out where she was at first, to get her out of there.
20 West 81st Street.
The dispatcher had told us that there was a female and that she had been held captive somewhere near a laundromat. So we immediately start to drive towards the area of the call.
Where's she at now? Where's she sleeping at? In the bedroom.
I asked her more questions, trying to get as much as I could before he woke up.
You have to be calm, but there's an urgency.
Yes.
The woman says she's calling from her abductor's phone.
He had fallen asleep at some point, and she was able to secure this phone.
You couldn't trace the call back then?
Couldn't trace the call. This was a flip phone. It was not coming back to a location.
Do you need an ambulance? Are you bleeding from anywhere? Not anymore. Where were you bleeding from? You don't have to talk if you don't need to, okay?
Why couldn't she get out on her own?
Well, he had taken the doorknobs off, apparently.
As Officer Dorsey heads to the scene, there's a problem. How to find her?
The caller does not know her exact address, but she tells 911 she's being held captive in a house next to this laundromat. The problem for police is that there are two very similar houses in this area.
There were two houses right here?
Yes. Two identical houses.
And you didn't know which one?
No, they were nearly identical, both the same color, same shape, two-story. We had no idea which one.
They can't just gang bust into a house. What if he'd have woke up with a weapon and hurt her? So they had to find her quietly. So they were outside looking for her.
So how do you approach the house knowing that the captor is asleep?
So we first started to just look in windows to see if we could see anything. Just check different doors to see if we can pinpoint which house she's in.
As police conduct the search, there's a heart-stopping moment when the caller says she has awakened her abductor.
Oh, come on. Just set the phone down.
You can hear the sheer terror in her voice when he wakes up.
Yep.
And then the line goes silent. It must have seemed like
Yes,
that.
forever.
What's going through your mind?
I'm just praying they find her.
Five agonizing minutes later, she's back.
Yep.
Are you still there? Do you hear any officers outside? Okay, they're in the area.
What was it like to hear her voice again?
It was good. Glad she was still there and not hurt. And he was still sleeping. So that's good.
You can hear her desperation for help.
It's a chilling call.
It's chilling.
I remember as I was checking the doors, panic starts to set in. I wanted to find her so bad. We're going back and forth between the two houses. The dispatcher had told us at some point that she heard a door.
Do you hear him?
I remembered that I had pulled on a door hard and it made a noise that I didn't intend. So I ran around the house that we were currently at and looked towards the direction of the other house.
They told him to come back. She said, hurry, hurry.
And I saw her hand. I saw her outstretched hand through the window, and I knew at that point she was in there. I would have gone through the wall to get to her.
A hand right on the window. That's pretty eerie. Sounds like something out of a movie.
Absolutely.
A horror movie.
We went to the door. It was locked, and I asked the dispatcher to relay to her that she needed to unlock the door.
Can you unlock the door at all?
She's able to unlock it, and we're able to open it.
Hurry up, where is he? I'm sleeping. Still sleeping? Yeah. Okay, they have her.
It took 19 long minutes to get her out. What was it like when you finally hear Detective Dorsey?
It's the best sound ever. I was glad because the officers were safe. She was safe.
You smiled a little because you're proud of her?
Yeah, proud of her.
What a relief. What was it like when you came face to face with the victim?
I'll never forget the way that she looked at us. She looked shocked, like she had seen a ghost. She was fully nude. I don't think I've ever felt so much relief to find her. Divine intervention and a good dispatcher led us to that house and ultimately that door.
So now police need to find out what happened in this house.
Where is he? Sleeping. Still sleeping? Yeah. Okay, they have her.
With the terrified 911 caller safely in their custody, police turned their attention to her abductor, a 40-year-old man identified as Sean Great. The dramatic moment when he's apprehended is heard on that open line from the 911 call.
Once we got Mr. Great into custody, he was handcuffed. He ended up in my car. So I began interviewing Mr. Great.
And how do you know her again?
We spend a lot of time lately together. We go eat lunch every day.
The victim, a 36-year-old woman, police identify as Jane Doe to protect her privacy. It's transported to the Ashland Police Department. Police are desperate for information. No easy task, as the woman was traumatized and still in shock. But Ashland police have a secret weapon. Enter Detective Kim Major.
Kim is the best interviewer that I've ever seen. She's able to speak with anyone, whether that be small kids or a violent criminal.
I was the only female detective for the majority of my career. Is that good? Is that good?
Major balanced the demands of detective work with the responsibilities of being a mother to 3.
That morning, Detective Kim Major is in the shower getting ready for work, and she misses 2 phone calls from her captain at the Ashland Police Department.
And I called him back, and he said, well, he gruffed at me and said 2 calls and a text. And he said, there's been a kidnapping. We've rescued the woman, and I need you to come in and interview her.
You come to the station, and what happens?
The victim was taken into my office at the end of this hallway, and that's where I spoke with her.
She had been tortured emotionally and physically.
Yes, she had. So I bring her into my office.
The effects of the woman's harrowing ordeal were immediately apparent.
The first thing I noticed is her appearance, of course. I could see that she had been victimized. The second thing I noticed was that I could smell the scent of her perpetrator. It's testosterone.
You could smell him.
I could.
What did you learn about Jane?
I learned that she had met Sean Great. She eats her noon meal at what we call the Croc Center. They provide free meals at noon. Jane Doe would eat there sometimes, and that's where she met Sean Great.
He was tall like my brother, my older brother, and he's kind of goofy, but he struck me as kind. Like when I would run into him at lunch, and if neither one of us was doing anything, we'd just walk around Ashland.
This is a woman so strong in her Christian faith that no man's phone number is in her phone, not one. No man crosses the threshold of her door.
He let me know that he would be interested in more, but I told him that I wasn't interested in, in beyond friends.
Kim was speaking with Jane Doe, and our captain at the time, Captain Lay, was speaking with Sean Great in the interview room.
David Lay, you are Sean Great.
At the same time Jane Doe and Sean Great were being interviewed at the station, Detective Brian Evans was part of a team sent back to search the house where Jane had been held captive.
We went upstairs. The mattress in the bedroom looked like a dirty, used mattress that was just found somewhere and used as a mattress. And then there were some restraints, as in tied clothing, tied to different areas of the mattress to where it looked like that's where Jane Doe was possibly tied up.
So just how did Jane Doe end up a prisoner in this house of horrors? The pair had been out for one of their regular walks and ended up at the house where Sean Great had been staying.
He told her that he had some clothes for her. She also had bagged up some food for him. And she said it was against her better judgment to walk through the door because it's unlike her. But she did.
He just started showing me the clothes, and I remember him asking if I had an extra Bible because he didn't have one, so I got him one.
So she sat down to read the Bible, and as she's reading, he began to pace. And then he charged towards her, grabbed the Bible from her hands, ripped it from her hands.
Jane Doe tells Detective Major that at that point, Sean Great attacked her.
I tried to push him away and get up. I was just doing everything, trying to kick, punch, but everything I did, he just did it so much harder.
And then what did he do to her?
Sexually assaulted her. And her words were every way imaginable.
He would always bind my wrists, my legs, at times.
The details were horrifying, but the interview takes a sudden turn when Jane Doe mentions the name of Elizabeth Griffith, one of two missing women police had been searching for.
She lived in the building next to me. Sweet, but like a child. Sean and I were playing badminton in the front yard, and Elizabeth saw us and came out. I think she just started, talking with us, and I don't know if I introduced her or she introduced herself.
Police discover there's a vital link between Jane Doe, Sean Great, and Elizabeth Griffith. All three of them would frequent this community center where they'd get free meals. That connection sets off alarm bells.
Was it possible that this man, unknown to law enforcement in Ashland, Sean Great, was also involved in the disappearance of Elizabeth Griffith?
When I stepped out of my office, my captain said, "Listen, I need you to go in and talk to him about what Jane Doe told you. Can you go in and see if you can nail down the facts regarding that, see if it parallels what he's saying happened?" "Hey, Sean, I'm Kim Major. Nice to meet you." The last thing he said before I walked in was, "And while you're in there, see if he knows anything about the missing girls."
Did you know anything about what you were about to face? What do you do?
Well, I walked down this hallway. I was told to go ahead and interview him, and this is where the interview room is. And when I came in, he was seated right here.
Oh, he's right here.
Yeah. "Hey, Sean, I'm Kim Major. Nice to meet you."
Before you came in here, did you have any idea what you were in for?
No, I had no idea.
You had your own recorder.
Yes,
And what did you do?
I took the recorder and just dropped it down my top.
Because you wanted a record of this.
Yes, just a backup in case something happened, and in this case, it proved valuable.
Valuable indeed, because the video system stopped recording shortly after Detective Major began interviewing Great. That means her backup was the only recording of the interview while the system was down.
We're going to get these cuffs off you.
He decided to take off his handcuffs.
Yeah,
Why?
I need to drop all of those things that would inhibit somebody's ability to relax or feel comfortable.
But out of his handcuffs, he could attack you.
He could.
You weren't thinking about that.
At that time, no.
In a city where law enforcement routinely interacts with the community, Sean Great was not known to police.
I had never heard his name. I had never had any tips about him. We didn't know him.
Sean Great had grown up in Marion, Ohio. That's about an hour from Ashland. He was a good-looking kid, charming.
With Sean Great, People talk about his eyes, they're piercing blue eyes. And women will talk about that. That's how they recall him, or his eyes.
He just had one of these very likable personalities, very soft, laid back, very unassuming type of personality. And it was just one of those things that you just almost couldn't hardly not like.
Sean never told me much at all about his background. I knew he had either a sister and a brother. I had never met his dad. He told me his mom abandoned him. He absolutely hated his mother.
Christina Hildreth dated Sean Great for 5 years.
I think before we moved in together, he had worked at, it was a motel, Super 8 or something in Marion, and he might have worked there a couple of weeks. That was about it. Other than that, I've never known him to have a job.
While unknown to police in Ashland, Sean Great had become a familiar face at the Kroc Center.
He would just come to our hot meal and just kind of integrated himself into the community meal and the community that attended and started making friends. I'd see him around town, walking and talking with people, and he just really kind of absorbed what we had.
What did he say about Jane?
At first, he tried to present it as if she wanted him, like they were in a relationship, that she wanted the sexual piece of this.
That was one of the reasons why she said she wanted to marry me, because she was horny that day.
Eventually, as we peel that away, you realize she didn't want this.
Just as empathy had helped in speaking to Jane Doe, Major was using a similar approach, hoping to gain Great's trust. And slowly, he begins to open up, sharing details about his childhood.
May have started when my mom left me when I was a child. I come home from school and she's gone, but I don't blame her. I know, I used to, but...
Why did she leave?
She had to go find herself.
I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Does he admit that something happened with Jane Doe?
Eventually, he begins to talk about what happened and admits in layers. He admits that he had held her there captive, admits that he had tied her up. I mean, looking at this whole thing, you forced her to have sex. She didn't want to.
I abducted her and I raped her.
And there it was. Detective Major had the confession, but the confession itself only raised more questions.
As he spoke about what he did to Jane Doe and would use the words kill, that he strangled her, you begin to realize this may be way more than Jane Doe. And earlier in my career, I probably would have stopped right at Jane Doe. Now, I realize it's a partial confession.
Detective Major brings the conversation back to Elizabeth Griffith, that missing woman who Jane Doe said also knew Sean Great.
We can't find Elizabeth. We'll find her, but we can't right now. Hey, look at me. Look at me. I need your help.
I can help you.
That goes on for just so long enough that he's acting like he has no idea what I'm talking about.
And then suddenly, Sean Great makes a shocking revelation.
I might not be able to take you to her, maybe someone else.
How many are there?
How much you say many?
Now, detectives knew Elizabeth Griffith and Stacy Stanley were missing, but now Sean Great seems to be talking about even more women.
I guess I'm ready to go ahead and get my lethal injection, but I'll tell you first.
Then things take a bizarre and frightening turn.
I'm thinking, this is not good.
At what point do you realize I might be dealing with a serial killer? you're in this very room alone with a serial killer.
The magnitude was becoming clearer to me. Whatever he did, I'm going to get it.
Police are now investigating whether they have a serial killer on their hands.
Are there any other girls in the house right now?
He had cut a slit into the back of the couch, and he was crawling in and out of the couch, and he would come out at night.
He says, "Meet the other me." I just froze. The first thing that hit my mind is a monster.
You don't normally have a killer show you how he did it.
He said, "I'll just do it on you." Kind of grinned. I'd get up behind him like this. He locks this in, he locks this arm in, he locks this head here, and then he just pushes down and squeezes.
Wow, wow.
At one point, he told me it was probably a good thing I had him in custody, because there would be more.
We knew that she was relatively young. She had perfect teeth. We had somebody that had confessed to her murder.
A fellow inmate tells you that Sean Gray, that he wants to kill you?
No, that desire. I'm feeling it now.
Sean Gray has confessed to his assault on Jane Doe. But what about those two missing women in Ashland? It's an urgent race to find out. Is he behind their disappearance? And can they be saved?
And as you continue interrogating Sean Gray, time is of the essence.
Time is always of the essence. I feel like I'm against the clock to get him to say something before I say the wrong thing and cause them to stop talking at all.
And you're thinking he might have these two missing women and they could still be alive.
Absolutely. I start pressing him on where Elizabeth Griffith is. Can you take me to where she is?
I can't.
Why? Sean, look at me. If I take you in my little detective truck, can you take me out?
I don't know what you're talking about right now.
I'm looking for Elizabeth's body. Can you take me to it?
So she's dead?
Then suddenly Sean Gray reveals shocking information that maybe he can bring Detective Major to somebody else.
I might not be able to take you to her. Maybe someone else.
How many are there?
I don't know how much you say many.
What?
I don't know. There might not be none.
He says he might not be able to take me to her, meaning Elizabeth, but might take me to someone else, and that there might be so many or there might be none.
So he's playing with you.
Possibly he's wanting to tell me something. Will you take me there?
I think the two places in Mansfield.
Where she is? Where are you gonna take me to Mansfield? Or there's another girl?
Well, there is a girl. But nuts.
What happened? Is she gone?
She's been gone.
Is she in a house? What is she in?
What?
All right, what's her name?
Candace.
Candace
Cunningham.
Cunningham?
He tells you there's someone else and that woman is Candace Cunningham.
Yes.
Did you know who she was?
I did not know Candace. Candace hadn't been reported missing.
As our colleagues watching in the other room start looking for information on Candace Cunningham, Detective Major continues to question Sean for more information. After all, the two missing women in Ashland are still unaccounted for.
As I watched the interview, I could see that Sean was warming up to Kim. He was telling her more. Her methods were working.
What was it about you that he connected with, felt comfortable with?
He told me that I had empathy, that he could see it. Who else?
Al. where I came from.
Yeah. Is somebody in there?
Yeah.
Who is it? Is it Elizabeth? Where is she in there?
So then Sean admits to you that Elizabeth's body is in the closet in that same house where he was holding Jane Doe.
Right in the same house. When he said that, I didn't know if she was alive or not.
As Kim's interviewing, I called Detective Brian Evans to tell him that Elizabeth was upstairs in a closet. He had been working on a search warrant at the house.
I was surprised by the information because officers had cleared the house. We headed upstairs to see if we could locate Elizabeth. This is an abandoned house that has old wooden steps. You could see bare footprints going upstairs.
One of the guys on scene said, there is no closet upstairs. That detective went directly to a particular room and looked up and realized there was a concealed closet.
There was a bunch of clothing just all over this closet.
There were stuffed animals piled down below.
As we started pulling away the clothes, you could see the fly activity, and there was an electrical tape that was taped up around the sides of the door to help from the smell to come from the door. And once the doors opened, there was another large pile of clothing. You could see the fly activity again all over the clothing.
Elizabeth's body was underneath all this.
Yes, it was.
What goes through your mind at that point?
Well, that it was a tragedy, and once the clothes were removed, her body, she was actually kind of face down and hog-tied back.
Chilling.
Yes, it was very sad.
Sean tells Detective Major that the night of Elizabeth's murder all began when he says she called him late at night because she couldn't sleep.
She came over about 11 o'clock when she brought over Yahtzee, late Yahtzee. It just happened that the truck just reached up, just choked her.
We just didn't think it was possible. It couldn't have been Elizabeth. It just couldn't have been. And then we found out it was.
And we just sobbed and sobbed because it had come to a conclusion that we were not going to see our friend again.
You're in this very room alone with a serial killer.
Yes. As it progressed, the magnitude was becoming clearer to me.
I guess I'm ready to go ahead and get my lethal injection, but I'll tell you everything first.
He's bought into me, he's gonna talk to me. Whatever he did, I'm gonna get it.
Sean Great has confessed to the kidnapping and rape of Jane Doe, the murder of Elizabeth Griffith, and knowledge of the disappearance of Candace Cunningham. But Stacy Stanley is still missing, and Detective Major has a hunch he knows more about her as well.
As the hours tick by in this very same room,
Yes,
you got more and more out of him.
that's right. It just kept coming out in layers, a little bit more and a little bit more. Are there any other girls in the house right now? Yeah?
One down in the basement.
Down in the basement? What's her name?
Stacy.
He tells me that Stacy Stanley was in the basement of the home under a pile of trash.
Now remember, Stacy was that missing woman whose family had been searching for her after she was seen with a stranger changing her tire at that BP gas station. Sean says he was that stranger, and he tells Detective Major his version of what happened that night.
She came home with me. We kind of hit it off pretty good. And then didn't. I saw her fast. I just snapped on her.
The mood at the police division was shock. It was just chaotic and pretty unreal.
Then you get another disturbing call. There's another body in the basement.
Yes, if you go down the basement, there's space behind the stairwell. There was multiple bags of trash stacked up, and underneath the trash is where Stacy was. There was actually a picture of just her hand kind of sticking out of the trash, like eerily saying like, I'm here.
Have you ever seen anything like this in all your years of police work?
No, I've been on other homicides and other tragic cases, but not to this magnitude, no. A lot of our local community was coming to the area, and you could tell the feeling in the air was that the people knew that we found bodies in that house.
What started as a rescue ended with a gruesome discovery that only got worse. Now families wait to find out if those women are their loved ones.
I got a phone call saying I need to get to Ashlyn ASAP.
I don't want it to be my mom. I mean, nobody wants it to be their mom. I don't get to watch her grow old. My daughter she don't get to watch my daughter grow up.
Honestly, I think that my sister's in that house and they're not gonna know anything for a couple hours.
They pulled out a couple pictures. They're like, do you guys recognize that? I said, yeah, that's my mom's picture.
It was very traumatic, having to see that, and that was my mom laying there,
It's bad enough what he did, but for some reason, thinking that he put her under trash. Makes it worse.
It still touches you.
It does. For me, the day that cases don't impact me would be the day that I need to pack it in.
You want it to touch you. You want to feel
I want it to touch me. I mean, I don't want to be in an interview and lose control, but these ladies mattered.
But Detective Major had to put aside her emotions. Sean Great had confessed to a third woman named Candace Cunningham.
Candace was a little tiny, vibrant woman, lived in the next county over, Richland County. Candace had not been reported missing, and Candace had dated Sean Great.
On her Facebook page, Candace posts about Sean Great, including this picture, and later writing, I am back with Sean and love him. It was just 1 month before her murder. In the interrogation room, Sean describes strangling her in an abandoned house after an alleged altercation.
3 o'clock in the morning, I hit my face with a bag of tobacco. I just snapped.
After I was done interviewing him, which went all day, I had asked him if he would take me to where Candace's body was.
What's going through your mind?
I was hoping that he wouldn't shut down from just having the emotions of going back to that place. So this is the scene where the home was, where Candace Cunningham was living with Sean Great. So there was a home here. He burned it down after he murdered her in the home.
Investigators took video of Sean that day as he led them to where he left Candace's body.
He's agreed to come out and show us where he put the body.
He killed her in a house that was here and then dragged her body toward the ravine.
Prior to burning that down, he carried her body wrapped up in a blanket. He carried her to the ravine.
Yeah, I remember these rocks.
How far down?
Carried her across the creek and up, straight up the hill, about between 10 to 15 feet. There's a big shrub.
While you were here, Sean got emotional.
He did. When we rolled up, I actually had to ask him, "Are you okay? You okay?" All right. And he said it was hard. It was hard.
What was it like to finally find this woman and give it some closure?
Like I wanted to go down to the ravine and rescue her, but she's gone. Frustrating that she hadn't been reported missing, that no one even knew at all.
As the investigation continues, Sean performs another show and tell.
I just lost it. And then I just turned her around.
Revealing more deadly secrets. During the interrogation, you asked Sean to show you his strangulation technique.
He said, "I'll just do it on you." Kind of grinned.
Next to that desperate call for help from a woman being held captive, police are now investigating whether they have a serial killer on their hands.
Sean Michael Great is being held for kidnapping tonight, and the sheriff's department says he should be charged with murder.
Lord, I told that undertaker, undertaker, please drive slow.
The community response was one of just complete shock. People had no idea that something like this could happen here.
Even though I don't know them, we are thinking about them and praying for them.
All I kept saying was, oh my God. And it was just like, this is unreal. No, we're not talking about the same guy.
I was just like, how? I knew he had this anger, but when I first found out, I couldn't comprehend that this was something he had actually done.
Those closest to Great were surprised to learn of his killing spree, despite them having their own chilling experiences with him. His former girlfriend, Christina Hildreth, says Great once spied on her from inside her sofa.
He says, "I've been living in the couch." He said, "When you came in, you were sitting on me. I seen everything you did." He had cut a slit into the back of the couch, and he was crawling in and out of the couch, and he would come out at night. That was terrifying.
And his friend Tim Dennis claims he had a text exchange with Sean that made his blood run cold.
He had, just out of the clear blue, asked me if he could borrow $20. And I told him no. All of a sudden, here's this whole slew of scathing messages. And he told me, bed bugs are coming to your house, roaches are coming. And then he makes this statement. He says, "Meet the other me." Honestly, I just froze. The first thing that hit my mind is a monster.
Two days after his arrest, you go interview him again now with Detective Evans?
Yes, I did. I asked him if there was anything else he wanted to get off his chest. Anything else you thought about that you haven't talked about? What's that?
It's a cold case. They've already found her. I'm thinking her name's Dana. I totally forget her name.
He tells me that he had killed a woman in Marion County.
10 years earlier.
10 years earlier.
Dana.
He didn't know her name for sure.
Who was she?
She had come to his mother's house to sell magazines.
Sean says he got upset because the woman didn't deliver the magazines that Sean's mother had ordered.
He said he was in town and just happened to see her. So he said he made up a story that he had money back at his house.
So that's when I fronted her. So you're gonna rip me off like you did my mom, Dad? That's when I choked her out right here.
He said he placed her out by some railroad tracks. Her body had been found years and years ago. She just hadn't been identified.
Detective Major knows authorities will need to figure out who this Dana is, but they press on, probing Sean about key details of his other murders.
Detective Evans and I decided we might try to have him show us how he strangled the victims. So Brian Evans says, would you do this on a doll?
And what did he say?
He said, "I'll just do it on you," and kind of grinned. I was like, okay, and then we got up.
So I roll the camera Okay, this is Detective Major. We have Detective Evans in the room, Sean Great in the room. Then he kind of just gets behind Brian and does a hold on him.
Brad just grab her.
I look at Brian's eyes and I'm thinking, this is not good.
So I'm you, and you're Sean. So what did he do?
So he just came up behind. He said I'd get up behind him like this, and then he comes back. He locks this in, he locks this arm in, he locks this head here, and then he just pushes down and squeezes.
Wow, wow.
And at that point, I kind of mouthed over to Detective Major that I'm not doing that again.
You could have lost consciousness in seconds. He could have killed you.
I didn't put a whole lot of thought into that. It just went to getting the evidence, and I feel I have some training that I don't believe he would have killed me.
Police don't normally get this kind of demonstrative evidence. You don't normally have a killer not only confess to a crime, but then actually show you how he did it.
How'd you know to stop? She went like this.
This morning, suspect Sean Great held on a $1 million bond and facing double murder and kidnapping charges.
You understand the nature of the 3 offenses charged in the complaint, Mr. Great?
Yes, Your Honor.
He seemed kind of unalarming. I could understand why maybe women were trusting of him or went with him willingly, because he didn't look like a monster.
Law enforcement is on the hunt to figure out just who is this unidentified woman Sean Great has confessed to killing 10 years prior in neighboring Marion County.
Nobody knew who she was. It was a great mystery.
Investigators reached out to the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation.
My name is Samantha Molnar. My position at Ohio BCI is a forensic artist. I can do a clay facial reconstruction from the skeletal remains. We can actually 3D print an exact replica of the skull. I basically start doing the clay reconstruction from there, building the muscle structure on the face, placing the average tissue depth markers, and then kind of finishing the sculpture. We did receive some tips, but none of those tips led to an identity.
Detective Kim Major isn't just trying to crack the Sean Great case. She also has to juggle the full-time job of being a mom to 3 active kids.
All right, hook her up.
I'm always worried about her, no matter where she is. I would stay up at night, me and my little brother would, and just wait till she gets home.
I try to say that I am not overprotective of my kids, but I'm sure I am.
But could this case put Kim or her family in grave danger?
When the case was going on, our fair kicked off. I get a phone call, and it's a man, and he said, "I have your daughter." On Friday night, my husband coaches football. I actually took my younger kids to the football game, and I sat there, which was also surreal, seeing all the things around me and the lights.
People are happy.
They're happy, they're cracking the helmets. The band, watching my husband, hearing the whistles.
Friday Night Lights.
It's Friday Night Lights. That's small town America. And I brought my kids home, put them to bed.
That's when Detective Major's oldest son, Corbin, who's preparing to enter the police academy, comes into the room.
He's like, "What's going on, Mom?" I said, "Sean Great builds forts all over the place. He's like MacGyver. He stays in these things. But there's one in particular he keeps talking about."
He had a fort in the woods, and she explained to me where it was. And I remember there was a body recovery within a quarter to a half mile that deemed a drug overdose right on a gas line.
I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Yeah, there was a woman that died of an overdose, and they dumped her body there."
We also just learned a body was found in Ashland County. Police say a gas company worker found the body behind a tree on County Road 1908, just south of Route 30.
he said, hold on a second.
I kind of marked out where she thought his fort exactly was and kind of marked the distance. It was on the same county road. I was like, there's no way this is just a coincidence. This has to be from him. It's just, there's no way it's not.
I said, honey, it's an overdose and a dumping. And he said, that's because of her lifestyle. And people assume it's that. He said he did it. You have to go talk to him. You have to do something. The next morning, went in to the jail, pulled Shawn Grade out. There's a case from out in the county, meaning that we found a girl. And we're trying to see if you'll be honest, if that's something you had something to do with.
Rebecca Lacey.
Yes, sir.
I had problems with her once.
31-year-old Rebecca Lacey's death had been ruled a drug overdose by the Ashland County coroner. But now, Shawn Grade shares what he says happened to her.
We played a game of pool. I went to the bathroom, right? I had some money in my wallet. And that's the first thing I did was just check my wallet. And it was gone.
He said she had stolen a few dollars from him. And he said he had strangled her. He talks about borrowing a car and taking her body out and dumping her in my county.
This is where Rebecca Lacey's body was found.
Yes, right against this tree right here.
When was she found here?
March of 2015, her body was found, and she had been here for a couple months.
Hard to believe that such a heinous crime could have happened here.
It should be a place of solitude, but instead, it's a place where a woman's body was discarded like she didn't matter.
But Rebecca Lacey's case was public knowledge, and Detective Major needed proof that Shawn was actually involved in her death. So she asked him about details from the crime scene. What did Shawn tell you about the placement of that memorial?
During the interview, when I had asked him to tell me some things that nobody would know, he said,
I can tell you the truth, because where I found the cross and stuff right now, she wasn't found there. She was found over by a tree.
He said you put the memorial in the wrong place.
yes. He was right. Nobody would have known that.
With this new information, authorities reopened the Rebecca Lacey case, ruled her death a homicide, and later charged Shawn Grade with her murder. Detective Major had formed a unique bond with Shawn Grade. You spent 33 hours with Shawn Grade?
Yeah, 8 interviews, 33 hours over the course of over a month.
So much so that they've been compared to Clarice Starling and Hannibal Lecter from The Silence of the Lambs.
Starling.
Well, Clarice, have the lambs stopped screaming?
What kind of toll does it take on you?
It may have made me a little more hypersensitive. When the case was going on, our fair kicked off. I get a phone call, and it's a man, and he said, I have your daughter. I said, who is this? And he won't answer me. And then he hangs up. They contact a guy who made the phone call. It was just a coincidence. The case probably changed how I handled something like that. That was a rough one for me that night.
A month after he's arrested, there's another chilling development. A fellow inmate tells you that Shawn Grade is targeting you, that he wants to kill you.
He said that Shawn Grade told him he was trying to find my gun on my body, that he thought it would be the ultimate to kill me.
This information did not lead to any additional charges against Grade, but future meetings between Detective Major and Shawn Grade took place at the jail, where no weapons are allowed.
All along, do you think he was plotting to kill you?
I didn't know that initially. I went into a later interview with him. I said, Are you still having that hunger that you talk about?
Can I ask you something? Will you be honest? Do you still have thoughts?
About that desire?
Yeah.
I'm afraid the desire probably grew when there wasn't no desire at first, but it might have gotten more. Now I feel like something that I just had to do. I'm feeling it now.
He told you he still had that hunger to kill.
Yes.
Shawn Grate says he had a hunger to kill. But Jane Doe and the victims' families had a hunger for justice. And now in court, they come face to face with a man they say is a monster. It's April 2018, and Shawn Grate goes on trial at this courthouse for crimes against 3 of his victims: Jane Doe, Elizabeth Griffith, and Stacey Stanley.
It was the trial that everybody was waiting for. They wanted to know if this community, if these families were going to get justice.
This is not a whodunit case. This is a he did it case. The defendant subsequently, over the course of multiple interviews, confessed to every element of every crime with which he is charged.
I ask that you consider that Shawn freely and voluntarily gave information during several interviews which implicated himself in several serious offenses.
Jane Doe comes face to face with her abductor, bravely taking the stand against Shawn Grate, detailing her horrifying ordeal.
It was probably the most crucial testimony in the case.
How was he choked?
With both hands around my neck.
Did he let go of your neck?
I think when I stopped struggling and fighting, he asked me if I had enough. And I think I just remained motionless, and so he released his hands.
She testified about the terror that she went through during the time that she was kidnapped and sexually assaulted.
At the trial, they played the audio of your interview.
They did.
With Shawn.
Yes. I entered the interview room to interview Shawn Grate. You can hear my heart beating at key times during the interview.
Who was that you were talking to on the phone?
It made me realize that maybe it affects me physically more than I recognize.
Prosecutors reveal gruesome details about the deaths of 2 of his alleged victims.
People don't understand when you were in that trial, what you see and what you hear, you can't unsee or unhear ever. And those thoughts are always in your mind. You can't forget it.
It was too gruesome. It hurt you that much.
Yeah.
Even talking about it today. Why?
Just what she went through. It wasn't fair.
Sorry.
We, the jury, being duly impaneled, find the defendant, Shawn M. Grate, guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of the offense of aggravated murder.
Shawn Grate, guilty on 2 counts of aggravated murder as well as rape and kidnapping. But justice is bittersweet.
He devastated so many people, he changed our lives, and he took away not only Elizabeth's innocence, but the innocence of all of us that believed we were safe.
The day of his sentencing, Shawn Grate addressed the court.
I ask you maybe forgive me, find in your heart someday, I know not today, someday. This mess, I'm sorry for all human beings to have to listen, hear this, okay? I'm sorry. I can't change nothing. Believe me, I would. Not for me, but for you guys.
He asked us in court to forgive him, not for him, but for us. And obviously, I haven't forgave him for what he did.
Real justice would be for you to come with me for about 5 minutes, burn in hell.
The victim impact statements were extremely emotional and very powerful. We heard from Stacy Stanley's son and 2 of her brothers.
It doesn't affect just one person when you kill them, it affects everybody. You ever bury your mother? I had to pick a casket out. I didn't expect that this young.
The offender was found guilty, and a sentence of death by lethal injection shall be imposed on Mr. Great.
At the trial, you had justice for Stacy Balloons.
Yeah.
And Stanley Strong. And you released him when he got the death penalty.
Yes, there was quite a few people that showed up out there to show the support for the family, and that we were glad that he got convicted and received the death penalty. I mean, that was what we were hoping for.
Praise God.
In March 2019, Sean Great pleads guilty to the murders of Rebecca Lacey and Candace Cunningham in Richland County. But his first victim remained unidentified.
You are what you eat. So the different things you're exposed to in your environment all show up in your bones. We learned that she likely was from a southern state, somewhere between Texas and Florida.
Then finally, a match.
Now this woman, a victim of serial killer Sean Great, has a face and a name.
In June of 2018, the community of Ashland, Ohio gathered at the site of Jane Doe's frantic 911 call.
Today, that house was finally demolished, bringing closure for residents and relatives of the victims.
Many people felt like they needed to be here today.
After we found out that Elizabeth was one of the people in the house, I would have nightmares about it. And I would see her in the window asking for help. I wanted them to tear it down so bad, and I was so happy the day that they did.
You were there when you saw the house on Covert Court destroyed, demolished.
I was.
What did that feel like?
It was a tangible piece that was destroyed, but the weight of the situation is still here.
2007, the remains of a female.
1 year later, another step forward, a new development in the search for the identity of Great's first known victim.
The preliminary results indicated that the victim was very likely Dana Nicole Lowry of Minden, Louisiana.
So genetic genealogy was able to provide us a family and a potential identity of this person. And what we did next was go down and swab the daughter of Dana. We were able to directly compare the DNA from the daughter to the DNA from the remains to be able to confirm that was Dana Lowry.
Sean Great pleaded guilty to Dana Lowry's murder. So now there are 6 known victims, and only one of them survived, Jane Doe. What would you say to that woman if you were able to talk to her today, to Jane
How
Doe?
brave she was. She saved so many people. If she hadn't been brave and did what she did, we wouldn't have caught him. Then how many more women would have suffered?
Kim Major has retired from the Ashland Police Department, and she now works as the Safety Services Director at Ashland University. And she's written a book about the Sean Great case.
I don't want to forget this case. I don't want anyone to forget it. These women could have been anyone.
You titled the book A Hunger to Kill.
Those are his words. He has a hunger to kill.
Do you think there are other victims out there?
I don't think this is a closed book situation. I think more information may come out.
We never get to say our goodbyes.
As for the Stanley family, they're still dealing with the tremendous pain of losing Stacy. You miss her still?
Oh yeah, it's been 8 years. I haven't even opened a box of anything of hers. I just kind of put it behind like it doesn't exist to an extent.
what keeps you going?
I know she would want us to go on. And the boys. It just breaks my heart to see what they go through every day.
Right, you ready, girlfriend?
And you know, like he just had a new baby.
Grandma? You see Grandma?
And he took her out and set her on his mom's bench at the cemetery.
Hello there. Is it Grandma?
I talked myself into going out there.
Yo, that was so cute.
She was smiling so big.
It's beautiful.
And that's hard for me to sit and see my daughter never gonna meet my mom. Oh, she was a great grandmother to her first granddaughter, and I'm sure she would have loved mine just as much. My mom did not deserve that. Any of the women didn't deserve that.
And even though Sean Great's execution was originally scheduled for 2025, it is currently on hold until Ohio picks an alternative to lethal injection. His appeals have been denied.
He also denied 2020's request for an interview. Meantime, Kim Major's new book about the case, A Hunger to Kill, is available now. That's our program for tonight. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Deborah Roberts.
And I'm David Muir. From all of us here at 2020 and ABC News, good night.
बुलबुल में रोंदी वेखी, एक बुलबुल में रोंदी वेखी, कर कर याद बहारा, कर कर याद बहारा, किसे के आना रोनी बुलबुल फिर खिलसन गुलजारा, किसे के आना रोनी बुलबुल फिर खिलसन गुलजारा। अखियां दा जद नूर ना रेया फेर किए लग करने, अखियां दा जद नूर ना रेया फेर किए लग करने। घर मशिका देवे घर मशिका देवे मालिक जाना फले फूले दाना गावे आना गावे मालिक जाना फले फूले दाना गावे आना गावे गावे आना गावे गावे आना